Hello, it's glad for me to introduce the simple internet system. The reason to write this internet system is I cannot find a very lightweight and handy um, internet system to use when I develop my games. That's a great empty for this space. So I decided to write one with a lightweight, extensible, though a little bit programmer style Interact system. So this system is very simple. It only contains 5 to 8 scripts, and it works like a magic. So let's first see the demo. So I already pressed the start button, and we see when my mouse hover over the object. This is these two cubes are interactable and they will show different UI. For example, this is a 3D workspace canvas UI, and this is a 2D workspace canvas. So that means my simple interaction supports any kind of UI, and we have a simple interactive input listener that works when you press E. It will try to interact the current selected object. So when you do this, you have two interact options, and they already show on the interactable object as it shows in the inspector. It's quite direct, and also it has some um, events to invoke and customize in the inspector for you to make your custom logic. And they have already retained here for flexibility. So there are two options here. One is the high option, is directly log this test, log now test. I can change it here. Okay, so it will log this number. Also, there's another option that will log some test after 2 seconds. So what's that? Does it log? It's log high with delay 2 seconds, and the delay is already here. So let's try it. So this is log high, no delay. Okay. Then we have log interacting, just simulating the interacting process because you may want to open a UI, open a tablet, and wait for the camera close. That's the time this interaction completes. So um, this simple demo shows a lot of information on how to use and how it can work. It supports not only the instance direct interactive reaction, also it supports any kind of delayed or customized interaction tags. So this is the UI problem and also the interaction problem. I recommend you to use this with the free access quick outline on the Unity access stores. This will help a lot to make an outline on the object. So besides this, let's see how these magic work together. First, we have objects, interactable objects. It's you need to have a script on it and has a collider on it to trigger interactable detection. So, so how do we trigger the interactable detection? We have the interactable control prefab. This prefab has several components. It has a UI panel to show the current interactable objects information. It has an interactable recaster to show the to do the raycast to get the current interactable object may be potentially to interacted. So this is the interactable object's mask and the raycast trigger interaction. So that's very common. Interaction control it leaves a lot of interface or events for you to do more custom logic. So the option means possible tasks you want to interact or a being or title or any single task that may happen when you interact with an interactable object or game object. So the input listener works very simple. It's when you press some button like the E button, it will trigger the UI to show up and try to interact with that object, show up options. So it's quite direct and simple system, but works like a magic and a very lightweight. And let's see the code. I'm not a professor in recording videos tutorials. I will simply go through script by script. So there are some interactive states to mark the current interacting states. Okay, so there are several ways to decide if an object is interactable. Um, I mean, can be checked in the interactable scripts. So we leave the virtual method to do more custom logic. The currently supported interactable check method includes decided by blue, decided by distance, decided by the method. So the logic can be checked by, let me see. Okay, checked by this function if it is interactable with the uh, object, the game object that tries to interactable with this interactable. Okay. If this interval is not enabled, so it's just should not be interacted. Besides, we are decided by its interactable check type, method distance, or simply the bool. So if you want to extension more criteria on how to decide if an object is interactable, you can add more enum and also override this function. You can make it virtual and do some logic by yourself. The overall process is very direct. When you try to trigger an interactable, you enter the interactable raycaster and you will get a raycast and you will decide if it is interactable. If so, it will register to the interactive control to know the current interactable object is this object, and you can and then you will try to enter the interaction by some trigger logic by yourself. In this demo, we use the input listener to listen to the input key code input and manually trigger the interact logic. But when you trigger the interact logic, the things becomes very simple. The game will show up the interact panels and and then you will decide how to check what options you will take. Then you will go to the options object. Why I say this access is extensible is because the intellectual option is extensible. It's through this script you will know its logic is quite simple and direct. You just take 3 to 5 seconds to understand. And when you extend it like me in this simple demo, you will see it's very simple, right? You only have to write your customize intelligent logic here, and it will work as expected. So to make it to configure the options directly in the inspector, I re recommend you to add some additional plugins. It should be free. These plugins should be free. It should also have paid version. So in the intouchable, you can see there's a serialized reference. That means we can put various subclass of interact option in the options variable. But to make it work to select that directly in the inspector, so what does that mean? If you directly in here create an object and add it as interpretable, it should not work that. So let's add some options. No, show anything. Does not show anything that we can select to configure here. But if you install the install this, uh, this plugin or extensions, you are able to select here. To select as this video, select the subclass. So let me do here. So it's your subclass selector. This is goes from this external extension. This is not necessary, but I recommend to do this because with this attribute introduced here, you are able to directly configure the options with subclass and configure it in the inspector, which will help a lot. For example, we can have the base class interact option, we can have the subclass log task, and in my game I have more subclass here. So it will be very feasible for me to directly configure it in the inspector. Besides, I recommend to use Odin Inspector. It do these jobs automatically. You no longer need this plugin. You can choose to use this free plugin or use the what's the Odin plugin. The Odin is needs to extra paid. So this is extensible because this options is serializable reference and each option can have its customized logic. You can say that option open the door and you can add more variables, add your custom logic, and yeah, all magic happens. So that's the for that's all. That's the full tutorial. So hopes can help any developer make an entire system more easily, more handy. How to set up a demo scene. You just drag the intelligible control into the scene. Drag this prefab under the object you want to use and reset the transform. Customize the options, right? Maybe customize the UI. Customize the UI in the canvas, right? It's all very handy, direct, and I mean simple. That's a good You do not need such a big plugin like was Dialog System for Unity. Have very sharp learning curve, but the access will help you do this in minutes and extensions in minutes, and do maintain your own entire system in the long term. So thank you for watching. Hope your develop smooth and successful.